Please help me welcome Carlos Ghosn. Welcome, Carlos.
Good morning to all of you. It's a pleasure to participate to the Web10 and talk in front of so many entrepreneurs at the front of the digital industry. Moreover, whenever it comes to something which is very important for all of us, which is innovation and the transformation of our world. Today, I'm going to focus on the difficulties that brick and mortar industries to think outside of our box and to keep up with an innovative mindset. This is particularly true for the automotive industry, and I'll try to show you how we deal with this matter within the Renault-Nissan alliance and what kind of opportunities it offers for you. First of all, let me remind you that the car industry was, at its beginning, an industry of pioneers. Innovative people, inventive people, very much like what IT is today. Louis Renault, which was the founder of Renault, more than 1 century ago, was a very highly innovative entrepreneur. Let me give you a couple of examples. From an engineering point of view, he invented the direct drive transmission, a solution later adopted by all the competitors, and he patented the turbo compressor 75 years before it could become a mass-marketed device. From a marketing point of view, he also had a very modern approach of brand value and communications, understanding, for instance, how car races could drive the brand image. During the early years of the 20th century, he would open a new commercial branch in cities where rallies and races took place and where Renault cars would often compete and finish first, like what we're doing, for example, in Formula One. But while the IT industry has managed for 40 years to keep innovating at an impressive pace, we cannot say that about the car industry. Cars have stopped being perceived, particularly in mature markets, as symbols of modernity. In Japan, cars rank 17th in the center of interest for young adults, far behind products and services that you develop, computers, cell phones, video games, etc. It didn't used to be the case. In France, 43% of people aged between 25 and 34 consider that cars have more drawbacks than advantages. So our industry probably failed to remain a symbol of modernity because our organization is based on optimization rather than breakthrough. Optimizing means capitalize on the existing knowledge in order to reduce risk-taking. Why do we hate risk so much? Because the stakes are so high for us. Bear in mind that on average, what we call the entry ticket, which is the engineering cost of development plus the investment coming after the development, for a program like Mégane for Renault, is about 2 billion euro. That's the entry ticket. So Japanese has a word for optimization. As you know, it's Kaizen. It is something that the car industry does extremely well. To achieve that, car makers constantly copy each other, benchmark each other, and this started in the 20s when we all applied Ford's principles. Parts price optimized to the cent, assembly processes are designed to the second. I don't know if some of you have recently visited a car plant, you would be surprised by its level of automation and organization. Of course, optimization leads to strong improvements. As for Moore's law in IT, the performance of engines is steadily increasing. Let me give you an example. In 1993, a Renault 19 could travel 750 kilometers without refueling. Today, its successor can go up to 1,300 kilometers without refueling. In 4 years, it's expected to go beyond 1,600 kilometers without refueling. In other words, drivers will be able to travel from Paris to Varsovie without refueling. In terms of technology, there is as much onboard intelligence in the new Mégane as there was in the first Airbus A300 planes. But at the same time, we have had some breakthrough in past decades. But far from the pace of change in our present world. We can list a few breakthroughs: multi-purpose vehicles, low-cost cars, electronic assistance. For most of these breakthroughs, Renault has pioneered, rolling out such equipment to the market among the first. We can also evoke hybrid cars, although hybrids still remain a niche market and more of an optimization than a real breakthrough. But when we look at past decades, it's difficult to identify any convincing or radical change in the identity of the cars and the way we use them. The issue is, while the car didn't evolve much, the world around it has dramatically changed. And we are all facing new challenges that have a direct impact on our industry. The first one is the environment. We all know that severe action must be undertaken to reduce CO2 emissions in order to limit the effect of global warming. Cars are accountable for 12% of CO2 emissions. Another challenge is oil price evolution and the geopolitical stakes for securing access to energy sources. The energy bill represents 2.5% of France's GDP, 7% of India's GDP. And here again, cars are accountable for 25% of the oil consumption. Add to these two challenges the growing need for individual mobility in emerging countries. The world car park today is above 1 billion cars, which means that every single day, 1 billion cars are being driven around the planet. And you see the kind of problems that we're facing. But we know that by 2020, more than 2 billion cars will be circulating in the planet. Why? Because Chinese are coming in, the Indians are coming in, the Brazilians coming in, the Middle Easterns are coming in, without counting Indonesia, Vietnam, Mexico, all the countries which is the next wave of emerging markets. And there is something which is clear. The basic need of autonomous transportation will not change. Like the basic need for the telephone of communication will not change. So this is the base of platforms for the future. So the cars today are perceived a little bit of a problem, and that's why they need to be more perceived as a solution. And the solution can be no longer optimization of the existing knowledge. We're going to need breakthrough in order to make it happen. So now I'm coming to, what I consider one of the most important innovations, even though it's a very old idea in the car industry, which is the mass-produced, affordable, zero-emission, pure electric car. Electric vehicles are a breakthrough because they are designed to be mass-marketed. This is not a show car. Renault and Nissan are bringing a complete lineup. It's not about one car. It's about different models that appeals to very big variety of consumers at an affordable price. We're talking about small city car. We're talking about family car. We're talking about light commercial vehicle. We're talking about luxury cars, etc. In order to make it not something special on the sideline of the industry, but something at the heart of the industry. EV is a technological and organizational breakthrough in the making. It's a technological breakthrough because the batteries we use offer a high energy ratio with no risk and at a reasonable cost. It's a breakthrough in process because key elements of the car are radically different. Of course, the engine and transmission are very specific, but beyond that, since there is very little vibration, very little noise, we can rethink the whole architecture of our cars. It's a breakthrough in the car business model because the battery becomes the most valuable component of the vehicle. It used to be the engine. And those who master its technology will lead the market in terms of price, quality, performance, time to market. And we are doing also the battery as much as we're doing the car. It's also a breakthrough in how companies interact with government, regions, and cities in order to develop the proper infrastructure and make sure that they help us make electric cars affordable through customers' incentive, at least until scale effects become favorable. With this example, it's clear that such a breakthrough is a true revolution in how we design, develop, manufacture, and sell and market these products. But for customers, it also brings a fresh change. First, you drive a real car. This is not a golf cart. Impressive acceleration, no noise, no smell. When you get used to electric car, you can't go back to traditional cars, I can tell you. I mean, obviously, today, people are not driving it, but we're starting the sales in the United States this month with the Leaf. We're starting the sales in Japan this month with the Leaf. It's coming to Europe. By the way, the Leaf has been designated Car of the Year in Europe in 2000, for this year, for 2011, which means that there is expectation and there is appetite. There is no exhaust pipe, there is no emission, there is no CO2, there is no particles. So you can imagine all the impact it's going to have on quality of life. So how we're able to reach, how are we able to reach this breakthrough? Because here we're talking about innovation. Energy and environment problems and challenge obviously is pushing our industry into looking for alternative solutions. That means we did not invent it, we just are facing the fact that we can't continue to contribute as much as we are contributing to emissions, and we cannot ignore the fact that oil is becoming a problem. Not only an economical problem, but also a political one. We've been working on batteries, Nissan particularly has been working in batteries for 18 years, and we came up with a new solution offering a good technical and economical balance and compromise. And then, of course, this is something which goes with innovation, is at a certain point in time, after analyzing the situation, you're going to have to go. You're going to have to go, and when you go, you're taking always a risk. And obviously, it has to be balanced, it has to be analyzed, quantified, and we invested 4 billion euros so far into the electric car between Renault and Nissan, and we have more 2,000 people in both companies working into this project, even though we understand that there is a part of risk, but every day which passes, we feel more and more comfortable with it because we have so much an overwhelming response from consumers. The United States, 250,000 people hand-raising for the Leaf, for a maximum 20,000 cars production for the year. In Japan, we reached 70,000 hand-raisers for the Leaf. I mean, the production of next year is already booked. It's already pre-order, and people are paying to get the Leaf. So the response, the initial response from people in front of the electric car is overwhelming. Obviously, every innovation faces resistance, skepticism. Somebody said, you know, need is mother of every innovation, and skepticism is the father of every innovation. Well, we have many fathers here. A lot of skepticism about electric car. The range is not sufficient, the battery is not safe, the performance of the car is not good. And how about if you put electricity out of coal and oil, so you make the CO2? I mean, every kind of naysayers coming. Frankly, we are expecting this to happen because I don't know how you can market electric car if you don't have the technology. I don't know how can you speak well about electric car if you don't own one or if you cannot market one. At the same time, let's not forget that we are at the beginning of this technology. Let me take another example, parallel, cell phones. At the beginning of the cell phones, the cell phone was weighing 1 kilogram. It took 10 hours to charge, had very limited number of charge cycles. You could talk for 30 minutes. First portable phones would cost tens of thousands of dollars. As you know, we have a completely different picture today. Scale and competition pushed the price down, and the functionality is up. This will be the same for electric car and batteries, and I can tell you where we are starting is much, much better than when the cell phone started. So the only point I would like to say is that this is a platform. The electric car is a platform. This is a place, because, you know, what is a platform? We were talking with Loic about the fact the telephone is a platform. Why? Because there is a basic need for human beings to communicate. And no matter what, 1,000 years, 5,000 years from now, human beings always are going to need device to communicate. So that's why the telephone is an obvious choice for platforms. Well, there is another basic need, is transportation. Autonomous transportation is not going to fade away. Now, you can have the trains and the buses and everything you want, but they are not autonomous. Autonomous transportation is a basic need, and we see it in developing countries where you go to Chinese and Indians, the car is the first thing they want to buy. It may not be the same thing in mature markets, but in the emerging countries where the industry is booming, the car is the first thing they want to buy because people want autonomous transportation. And because this is a basic need, it's obviously a platform. And this platform is open. You know, obviously, we are putting devices on it, we are putting application, but we are far from where I think it's going to be in a few years from now. So, and I know that this is one of the reasons for which you're having this session, is What are the new frontiers? What are the new opportunities? The car industry is a $2 trillion business. $2 trillion business. 70 million cars sold this year, as much, if not more, used car. Parts, insurance, everything, all the services going with it. More than $2 trillion business every year. And with the introduction of the electric car and the zero emission, this business is open. We have to rethink it. It's going to take some time. It's not going to, this is not going to change in 5 years. But what I would like to say today, because I know I'm talking to entrepreneurs, is this is a world for you to work on, because we have a lot of people working inside the company. It's not going to be sufficient, but we're going to need a lot of outside thinking, people bringing application, innovation, in order to transform the electric car into a real platform. We want people to buy the car because it's zero emission and everything. It's a nice car, but also because they can have their application on it, and they can feel comfortable when they move from their house to the car, from the car to the office. They are in a very familiar environment. So as a conclusion, I would say innovation is always reconstructing the future, is betting on some solution. We as an industry, we're being challenged because we have for so many years lived on Kaizen, and now we have to go for breakthrough because of the challenges we're facing. And I think the environmental challenge and the energy challenge that we are facing is going to be a great opportunity to reconcile the car as not only an object of rationality, but also an object of emotion. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Carlos.